talk bad about my team, you must be a clown. This is Keek on the mic, so you know you better bear down. Bear down. Bear down.
Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. Like always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Something interesting that I'm coming on the podcast to talk to you guys about right here on Keek on the Mic is that Justin Fields has been urged to request a trade out of Chicago. You know, some fans have grown frustrated with the lack of offseason moves from Ryan Poles, and this is something that we've talked about many times here on the podcast, and it's probably stuff that you've heard around the league, right? Fans growing frustrated with Ryan Poles. Ryan Poles has chose to unload expensive contracts and only sign cheaper free agents due to the circumstances of cap space, lack of draft capital, all that stuff. And this has amped up a lot of frustration amongst a lot of people around the NFL, not just Bears fans. But one person feels that the young quarterback should seize control of the situation. Connor Orr of Sports Illustrated wrote his belief that the NFL needs some kind of transfer portal similar to college. This is what Connor Orr had to say about the Justin Fields situation in Chicago. Fields, or any player in less than ideal situations, should be given the chance to work with the NFLPA to request a different assignment. This would force teams to maintain more of a consistent competitive spirit, or at the very least, be more open with their fan base about the path forward and offer promising players some sort of back-end protection. Interesting take there by Connor Orr. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I know a lot of you guys are going to comment on this podcast saying, well, Keek, why do you concern yourself with a bunch of nobodies that have opinions? You know, I'm not really concerned about what he has to say because personally I know deep down that Justin Fields doesn't want out of Chicago, right? The Bears, including Eberflus and Poles, have expressed how excited they are to work with Justin Fields, and Justin Fields just yesterday in his press conference clearly said that he is ready to lead this team. So I'm not concerned whatsoever about Justin Fields wanting to request a trade. If the old regimen would happen to got extended for some strange reason and it was still Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace, then I would be freaking out just a tad bit because then I can see Justin Fields saying, you know what, maybe this is not the best situation for me. Even though it's only my second year in the NFL, I want out of Chicago. But in this situation, I feel confident enough that Justin Fields, in fact, does not want a trade out of Chicago. But I do want to say a couple things. I just want to comment on what Connor Orr had to say about Justin Fields' situation in Chicago. The first thing on my mind is that Orr's idea of a transfer portal is just flat out stupid. This is not college football. These are guys, athletes that get paid millions of dollars to play a game. So I personally don't think no portal is needed. If a guy is unhappy, they can clearly come to the front office, to their GM or head coach, say, you know what, this situation is not working. I want to be traded. Like I just mentioned, Justin Fields does not want to be traded. And this is the thing that cracks me up. The Chicago Bears have been looking for a quarterback to run their franchise for years. And I'm not saying Justin Fields is the guy. I have high hopes that he is the guy, but I'm not going to sit here and say that he is the guy. The moment that we draft a quarterback, Justin Fields, that has the possibilities, the skill set to maybe possibility be our franchise quarterback, everybody and their mama is over here saying he needs to request a trade out of Chicago. Can Bears fans have something nice for once? Can you guys just leave us the hell alone? Please. Just let us enjoy this experience of possibly actually having a franchise quarterback. That just cracks me up. The second that we draft a player that has the skill set, that has the possibility to be great, now everyone has their opinions, right? You never heard anyone saying Mitch Trubisky should try to request a trade out of Chicago? Never once. But the second that we get a possibility great franchise-changing player, now everyone has an opinion about, oh, they're not doing enough for Justin Fields. He needs to request a trade out of Chicago. Just quit it. Just shut up. That was the first thing I wanted to get off my chest, that the transfer portal that Orr is suggesting is stupid. It is not needed. Number two, the second thing I want to get off my chest pertaining to what Orr had to say about Justin Fields' situation in Chicago is, why do people think that Justin Fields is just miserable, that he desperately wants out of Chicago. And it just cracks me up that people like Orr are calling for Fields to basically escape Chicago. Like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, if Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy were still running the show, then I can see the frustrations of Justin Fields. He made it very clear that he was pissed off of how he was used, right? Even yesterday when they asked him about if he could have been used differently, you know deep down that he wanted to, but you could see in his face that, yes, he felt like he could have been used differently, right? So if Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace were still there, I can understand. But now you bring in this new regimen of Cole, Eberflus, Luke Getsy, and you can tell that Justin Fields is welcoming that fresh start and welcoming that opportunity to understand that this regimen is going to use him properly to his skill set to get the most out of Justin Fields. So I need people to stop thinking that Justin Fields is just this miserable quarterback that is trying to escape Chicago. I truly feel that Justin Fields is very happy to be in Chicago, and he is more than ready to lead this franchise. Number 3, something I need to get off my chest, is why do people think that the Bears don't believe in Justin Fields? Obviously, this started off with Mike Florio, and then even when you read what Connor Orr had to say, he is basically suggesting that the Bears should trade Justin Fields because they don't believe in him, right? He's saying that if they trade Justin Fields, that puts their rebuild in hyperdrive, right? And this is just yet another person that has indicated that the Bears don't believe in Justin Fields. And for some reason, that bothers me because Matt Eberflus, Ryan Poles have made it very clear that they are excited about working with Justin Fields, and they see a bright future in Justin Fields. And Justin Fields has said the same thing, that he is ready to lead the show in Chicago. So, and that even goes as far as Luke Getsy. They're all excited to work with Justin Fields. And that's why it really does crack me up that all these people are finally coming out saying, that they don't believe in Justin Fields. That is just absolutely false. So just stop it. Please stop it. Lastly, to the fans that are frustrated, Bears fans, other fans for some reason are frustrated with the lack of moves by Ryan Poles. And I've been saying this a lot here on Kick on the Mic. Just be patient with Ryan Poles. I know that it's getting hard, and I know that we have waited a long time for a winning football team here in Chicago, but this year wasn't about loading up on talent. Like when you see what the Jacksonville Jaguars are doing, when you see what the New York Jets are doing, when they're just loading up on talent, right? They had the cap space to do so. But we have to understand our situation is not like the Jaguars or the New York Jets. This year was about retooling our roster that needed to be fixed and not making big moves. And this is something that I want to get off my chest and let you guys know, the fans that are frustrated. Not making big moves in free agency has nothing to do with their lack of belief in Justin Fields. But it has everything to do with Poles not having enough cap space to take a big swing at players that he actually wants. And, Poles has stated before that he wishes he could be more aggressive, but he doesn't have the ammunition. So what Ryan Poles is trying to do is, right, get rid of the loaded contract, the big contracts like Khalil Mack, right? And then add pieces here and there for cheap, team-friendly deals. And then next year, 2023 and beyond, that's where the cap space will come. That's where the more draft capital will come. And then I'm pretty sure that Ryan Poles will be a lot more aggressive. I'm not sitting here saying that he's going to sign players to massive contracts. I think he's always going to be very conservative in his approach, trying to add the right guys to his football team. But I can guarantee that he's going to be more aggressive than this year because he's actually going to have the ammunition to do so. So to the fans that are getting a little bit impatient, just relax and try to be patient. Like I mentioned, I know it's hard, but we have to let Ryan Poles' plan come to life. And I honestly feel that it will eventually come to life, and the fans that are a little bit more impatient than others will finally see that and be like, oh, that's what Ryan Poles was trying to do. So a couple of things I want to ask you guys before I end this episode of Kick on the Mic is, do you trust in Ryan Poles' plan for the Chicago Bears? And do you believe in Justin Fields? Let me know down below in the comment section. All this hoopla out there saying the Bears should trade Justin Fields or that the Bears don't believe in Justin Fields is absolutely false. And Justin Fields is ready to lead this team and lead the Chicago Bears to hopefully a lot of wins in the near future. But before I let you guys go, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms, and make sure you share this episode of Kick on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. But other than that, I'll be back for our all new Bears podcast right here on Kick on the Mic. Thanks, guys. Him bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Kick on the Mic.